Time is the silent force that works in your favor when you finally let go and stop chasing what doesn't value you. Most men panic when a woman pulls away. They think that if they don't act fast, she'll forget them. But that's where they're wrong. Time doesn't make her forget you, it makes her see you clearly. It strips away the illusions, the temporary emotions, and the ego that made her think she could do better. While you focus on your peace and progress, time slowly starts doing the work for you. Not in loud, dramatic ways, but in quiet, undeniable truths. In the beginning, she might feel confident, maybe even relieved. She tells herself that leaving you was the right choice, that she's finally free to explore what she's been missing. Her ego feeds her comfort. Her pride tells her you'll be back. But time has a way of humbling even the proudest heart, because while she's out trying to replace what you gave her, you're out rebuilding yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You're not waiting. You're evolving. And as you evolve, she starts to notice a shift in energy that no words can explain. You see, time has a strange power. It doesn't just heal, it reveals. It reveals who truly cared, who was truly real, and who was just pretending. And as time stretches on, she begins to see the difference between attention and connection, between lust and loyalty, between someone who wanted her and someone who understood her. Every day she spends without you, the illusion fades a little more. The excitement of being free loses its shine. The people she thought would fill the void only make it bigger, because no matter how far she runs, she can't escape the quiet moments. The moments where memories of you resurface when she least expects them. That's when time begins to turn against her. The silence that once made her feel powerful starts to sting. The absence she once ignored begins to speak louder than your presence ever did. She starts to remember your patience, your calm, your strength, all the things she once overlooked. And while she's stuck in the loop of missing what she lost, you're no longer the same man she left behind. You've grown sharper, more confident, more grounded. Time didn't break you, it built you. That's why you never chase. You never rush what's meant to unfold naturally. You let time do what you can now, because time exposes truth. It shows her that your value wasn't in your words, but in your consistency, your presence, and your ability to walk away without resentment. The longer she goes without you, the more she realizes that no amount of attention can replace the peace she once felt in your presence. And that's when time does its final job. It breaks her illusions, piece by piece, until all that's left is the truth she tried to ignore. She didn't lose you because you stopped trying. She lost you because you finally gave time the space to show her your worth. When you stop reaching out, when you stop explaining, when you stop trying to make her see your worth, that's when the real shift begins. Silence becomes your strongest statement, and time becomes your most loyal ally. Because when a woman takes you for granted, she's not thinking about losing you. She assumes you'll always be there. She's grown comfortable with your consistency, your patience, and your presence. But when that consistency fades, when that attention disappears, the reality of what she lost starts to hit harder with each passing day. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to step back and let time do what pride and arguments never could. At first, your silence will confuse her. She'll wonder if you've really moved on or if you're just playing games. She might even test you, post things to get your attention, try to trigger a reaction, or reach out with small talk to see if you still care. But when you remain calm and distant, when you show that your peace matters more than her validation, her power begins to crumble. She starts to realize that you're not the same man she walked away from. You've detached. You're no longer emotionally available to be manipulated or guilt-tripped. And that right there is when time starts teaching her the lessons she never expected to learn, the cost of taking you for granted. You see, time doesn't punish. It reveals perspective. In the space your silence creates, she starts to feel the void. The one that was once filled by your loyalty, your energy, your steady presence. She begins to notice that the attention she's getting from others doesn't carry the same depth. The laughter feels forced, the connections feel shallow, and the validation fades fast. Because no matter how much she tries to distract herself, time keeps reminding her of the difference between temporary attention and genuine care. The longer she goes without hearing from you, the more her ego starts to lose its grip. What once felt like control now feels like emptiness. She starts questioning herself. Why did you stop trying? Why aren't you chasing? Why aren't you proving yourself anymore? And that's when the realization begins to burn. She was never the prize. Your peace, your energy, your presence were. You didn't walk away out of weakness. You walked away out of strength. You chose self-respect over approval, dignity over desperation. And the longer she stays in that silence, the more she starts to miss not just you, but the version of herself she was when she had you. That's the beauty of time. It doesn't just heal you, it humbles her. Every second you stay focused on your growth, every day you choose discipline over reaction, time is working in your favor. You become the one that got away. Not because she didn't have the chance, but because she didn't value it when she did. And by the time she realizes what she lost, it's already too late. Because you become the man, she'll never get another chance to break again. There comes a point when your silence stops being about her and starts being about you. It's not about making her miss you anymore. It's about reclaiming your peace, your focus, and your strength. When you stop chasing and allow time to do its work, something incredible happens. You start to rebuild yourself piece by piece. You begin to see the difference between love and attachment, between caring for someone and losing yourself in them. And that's when you realize that walking away wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning of you rediscovering your worth. You see, when you were always there, always texting, always trying to make things work, you were giving her comfort without consequence. She knew no matter what she did, you'd still show up. But when you finally go quiet, truly quiet, that comfort vanishes. And while she's out trying to prove she's fine, time is working behind the scenes, reminding her of every moment she took for granted. The longer you stay silent, the louder your absence becomes. It echoes in her mind when she's alone. It whispers in her thoughts when she's scrolling through old messages. It follows her in the quiet moments when no one else is around. But here's the real magic. While she's busy battling that emptiness, you're evolving. You're no longer the man who needed her attention to feel worthy. You start waking up with new purpose, new goals, new drive. You hit the gym, focus on your career, rebuild your circle, and slowly, without even trying, you start glowing differently. That glow doesn't come from revenge, it comes from peace. You've stopped reacting and started becoming. You've shifted from chasing her approval to chasing your potential, and ironically, that's when the tables turn. Because the man who once begged for attention now carries an energy that can't be ignored. Your silence becomes attractive. Your focus becomes magnetic. Your peace becomes intimidating. And she begins to realize that while she was trying to move on, you were moving up. That's when regret hits her. Not because she lost you, but because she realizes she'll never find someone like you again. She'll never find someone who cared that deeply, who stayed that loyal, who loved that genuinely. But you've outgrown the need for her validation. You've learned that sometimes the best response is no response, and the best revenge is progress. You've learned that time doesn't just make her miss you, it makes you stronger, calmer, wiser. The longer you stay silent, the more you understand that walking away wasn't weakness, it was your most powerful move. Because while she's remembering what she lost, you're out there living what you gained. Freedom, confidence, and the kind of peace no one can take away again. As time moves on, something starts to shift in ways you can't see immediately. The longer she goes without you, the more that silence starts to weigh on her. Not because you're playing games, but because you finally removed the energy that used to feed her ego. You see, when you were always available, always chasing, she never had to question her place in your life. She could take, withdraw, push you away, and still know deep down that you'd be waiting. But when that constant reassurance disappears, her sense of control begins to crumble. At first, she convinces herself she doesn't care. She posts pictures, goes out, surrounds herself with noise, trying to prove she's fine. But the truth? That noise can't fill the silence you left behind. Time has a way of stripping away illusions. The friends fade, the distractions lose their thrill, and late at night, when there's no one else to impress, that's when it hits her. The quiet starts speaking. It reminds her of your consistency, your patience, the effort you gave without asking for anything in return. And as those memories come back, they don't just bring nostalgia, they bring guilt. Because deep down, she knows she didn't lose a man who didn't care. She lost the man who cared the most. That realization doesn't come quickly. It comes slowly, painfully, piece by piece, as time forces her to sit with what she once took for granted. Meanwhile, you've stopped looking back, you've stopped checking her social media, stopped replaying old conversations, stopped wondering what she's doing. You've begun to understand that your absence isn't just teaching her, it's transforming you. The man who once begged for love has now become a man who chooses peace. The one who waited for her attention now commands it effortlessly without saying a word, because your silence combined with your growth becomes undeniable. And that's when she truly starts to feel the weight of her choices. Not because you punished her, but because you healed. Every day she doesn't hear from you, she starts to realize something. Not that she misses the attention, but that she misses the man behind it. The way you made her feel safe, the way you believed in her, the way your presence made life better. And the more time passes, the more she understands she can't replace that. Because real connection isn't something you find again easily. She'll try to fill the void with others, but no one will match your energy. That's when regret turns into longing. And that longing, it never goes away completely. So let time do its work. Don't rush the process. Don't check if she's noticed your absence. She will, because time always reveals the truth. And in the end, it won't be you who breaks, it'll be her, realizing she let go of something she'll never find again. When a woman takes you for granted and walks away, she often believes time will work in her favor. She assumes that the more distance she creates, the easier it will be to forget you. But that's not how real connections work. Time doesn't always heal. Sometimes it reveals. And as the days turn into weeks and the weeks turn into months, she begins to see the truth. The man she thought she could easily replace is the one she keeps comparing everyone else to. That's the power of absence when it comes from self-respect, not from spite. Because when you stop chasing, stop begging, and stop trying to prove your worth, the silence you leave behind begins to echo in ways she didn't expect. At first, she might feel liberated. She'll tell herself she made the right choice. She'll go out, meet new people, surround herself with distractions. She'll convince herself that losing you wasn't a loss at all, it was freedom. But that illusion doesn't last forever. The excitement fades, the attention from others feels hollow, and the smiles she shows to the world begin to hide a growing emptiness inside. She starts to remember not the arguments, not the distance, but the feeling of being truly seen, something you gave her effortlessly, and suddenly the little things that once annoyed her start to look different in hindsight. The messages you sent, the calls you made, the effort you showed, all of it begins to feel heavier with meaning. While she's lost in memories, time continues to mold you into a better version of yourself. You're not waiting anymore. You're rebuilding, refocusing, rediscovering who you are without her. You're no longer fueled by her absence. You're driven by your purpose. And that's what makes time your ally, not your enemy. Because every second you spend growing is a second she spends realizing what she lost. You've become calmer, more confident, more grounded. And that transformation can't be ignored. She might pretend not to care, but deep down, she feels the distance growing, not because you disappeared, but because you evolved beyond her reach. That's when the pain hits her differently. Not the pain of missing someone physically, but the pain of knowing she underestimated your value. It's the realization that while she stayed the same, you became someone stronger. Time exposes what she once refused to see, that you were never the problem. You were the foundation, the consistency, the one who cared enough to stay when it was easier to walk away. And when she finally faces that truth, it hurts more than anything, because by then, it's too late to go back. So let time break her illusions. Let it teach her the lesson you never could through words. Your absence is not revenge, it's revelation. And the longer she goes without you, the more she'll feel the truth she once ignored, that losing a man like you wasn't her freedom, it was her greatest mistake. In the end, time becomes the most honest teacher of all. When she walked away, she believed she was making the right decision, that she could do better, find more excitement, or feel more alive without you. But what she didn't realize then was that genuine connection doesn't fade with distance. It grows stronger when it's rooted in truth. And as time stretches on, the very silence she once thought gave her power begins to turn against her. And now the longer she goes without you, the more that silence starts to sting. Not because she misses the attention, but because she starts to miss the peace your presence brought into her life. That's the cruel twist time delivers. It reminds her of everything she tried to forget. At first, she might convince herself she's happy, she'll smile in pictures, post quotes about independence, laugh louder around friends, but behind all of that, there's a quiet battle happening inside her. It's in those moments when the world goes still that she feels the ache. The memories start creeping back, uninvited yet relentless. The way you looked at her when she spoke, the way your energy calmed her storms, the way you made her feel like she mattered. Those things replay in her mind, and as much as she tries to silence them, she can't. Because those weren't just moments, they were proof of something real, and real always lingers. While she wrestles with her thoughts, you've moved differently. You didn't wait around for her to realize your worth. You became even more of the man she once admired, the man who's no longer defined by pain or longing, but by growth. You've learned that walking away isn't about punishing her, it's about protecting your peace. And the more you evolve, the more time exposes her regret. It's not that she suddenly wants you back out of need. It's that she starts to see who you've become and realizes she no longer deserves access to that version of you. That's when the regret becomes unbearable. Because nothing cuts deeper than knowing she lost a man who not only loved her, but also grew beyond the version of himself she once knew. Time keeps teaching her slowly and brutally. Every man she meets after you reminds her of what she can't recreate. She'll search for your kindness in others, your presence in conversations, your depth in moments, and every time she fails to find it, the emptiness grows heavier. She'll realize that what she thought was just another guy was in truth the man who loved her differently. Not because you were perfect, but because you were genuine. And by the time that realization finally settles in, she'll look back and see the truth she ran from. That time didn't heal her, it humbled her. It showed her what life feels like without your love, your energy, your presence. And that's when the silence she once wanted becomes the pain she can't escape.